Hi, Dr. Shook here. What I'd like to talk with you about today is memory loss and brain fog with thyroid conditions like Hashimoto's, Graves' disease, and then hypothyroidism. Whenever you start to have problems with your memory, if you can't remember where you put your keys, or you can't remember where your cell phone is, or you're forgetting names, you're forgetting phone numbers, you're forgetting where you're going and losing some of your awareness, and you can tell that it is progressing. It is something that you need to address. You don't just need to ignore it and hope that it will get better. And this is especially true if you have a thyroid problem. We know that different areas of the brain, whenever they function less efficiently, or whenever there starts to be an impairment with the function of the nerve cells in that area, that will manifest in a function that part of the brain controls. So for example, we're talking about memory. The area of the brain that's associated with memory is this area called the hippocampus. Now let me show you. I've got a model of the brain here, and these are the frontal lobes here. So this is the front, and then this would be the back of the brain. So you've got the frontal lobe, you've got on the sides here, you've got parietal lobes. In the very back, you've got this wonderful area called the occipital lobes, which are associated with your vision. And then on each side, you've got this area here called the temporal lobes, and it's on both sides. You can see it's symmetrical. And then you have in the back, this green area here is the cerebellum, which is involved with balance, postural movements. And then here you have the brain stem. Now, if we go inside and we look inside the brain, we're going to find this area called the hippocampus, which is very, very important for learning, for memory, for spatial awareness. And so if we look inside the brain here, this area that's curved, you see this C shape that's pink here, that is the hippocampus. Now the hippocampus is extremely sensitive to inflammation. And in autoimmune thyroid conditions or hypothyroidism, inflammation is very commonly found. And that's one of the things that I check for on labs. I look at C-reactive protein and I look at homocysteine levels. But if you have an autoimmune process that's occurring, your body will produce inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. And what they do is they very easily cross the blood-brain barrier. And when they go into the brain, they create this inflammatory response that sets off the brain's immune system, and it actually activates these cells called microglial cells. Those cells will destroy anything that comes in contact with them, and they are very, very powerful. They create a lot of collateral damage, so they'll destroy neurons around them. So this is something that is very commonly found with thyroid conditions in general, is inflammation, number one. So you need to focus on why do you have inflammation and focus on bringing those levels down naturally. Number two, you have to have adequate thyroid hormone. Okay, every single cell in your body requires thyroid hormone to regenerate and rebuild itself. So if you are not able to use the thyroid hormone that your body has, or you are truly hypothyroid, which most of my patients most of my patients actually have adequate thyroid hormone, but they cannot use it due to inflammatory processes or cortisol. There's a number of different reasons, but they cannot use the thyroid hormone that they have, so it cannot get into the cells where it's needed. If you are hypothyroid, or if you have adequate hormone levels, but you cannot get it into the cells can't rebuild. Every single cell in your body, including neurons, require thyroid hormone. So you have to be able to get that in. That can accelerate this neural degeneration. And then thirdly, you need to have adequate circulation. So anyone that's hypothyroid or that has thyroid issues, they will tell you cold hands, cold feet, cold tip of the nose. Let me tell you what that means. It means you have poor peripheral circulation. The circulation is not getting to the extremities. Guess what your head is? Your head and your brain is an extremity. And more importantly, you have to pump blood up against gravity. So you get poor perfusion of blood to the brain, which further leads to lack of oxygenation to the neurons, which they have to have, and can accelerate this process of neural degeneration. Now, just one quick note about that. You only have the neurons that you're born with, which are nerve cells. Those are all that you have. Your body doesn't go through a process called mitosis, which the rest of your cells, they repair, replicate, divide. Your neurons do not do that. When the neurons die, they're gone. Now the good news is that there's something called plasticity, where the neurons can actually make new connections and they can compensate for cell death of other neurons. But you do not want to lose those faster than you have to, because we know that Alzheimer's and dementia and neural degenerative conditions are associated with increased inflammation over a prolonged period of time. Everything that we're talking about is directly relevant and important when it comes to brain health. Your thyroid directly influences this. So these are the things that you need to look at. These are things that I just wanted to talk about briefly so that you could have a better idea. If you're experiencing any of these problems, it needs to be a call to action for you to actually look at your health and consider what needs to be done. I work with patients, and this is specifically what I do, but I'm in the process as well of creating online courses that are going to be very simple but very effective. I think I've seen it clinically to be very effective with my patients. Some generalized recommendations that you can begin working on dietarily and nutritionally to help you support your health naturally. It's very difficult to give generalized recommendations to people that have autoimmune conditions and hypothyroidism, but there are some things that are very, very foundational, and that is exactly what I intend to walk people through and help you to learn. So I hope that this has been helpful. I hope this has been educational, and it gives you something else to think about. There's a lot of information on our website. There's a lot of information that I publish and I put out to try and help you to help yourself. If you need anything, give us a call. We're here to help you out, but I will do anything I can do to help you improve your health. Just remember to take care of your thyroid. Make sure you have adequate hormones. If there's inflammation present, get to the root cause of why it's there. Look for gut problems. Look for chronic infections. Look for food sensitivities. Those are the things that you have to dig and find out. And that's how you get true health. You keep going and digging as far upstream as you can to find root cause so that you can actually be healthy. Okay, I'm Dr. Shook. I appreciate you taking time to learn more about your health. If there's anything that we can do for you, just let us know. Thanks.